Man, it's your boy Self-Conscious, man. And guys, I'm tapping in with a groundbreaking video, man. So Joe Biden decide to remove himself from the presidential race. Boy, look at him. What I told y'all. Numbers don't lie. Joe know he couldn't win. He knew he couldn't win, man. That man knew he couldn't beat Trump. Joe Biden knew he couldn't beat Trump, man. He couldn't beat Trump. I keep telling y'all, if y'all keep listening to me when I'm on these videos, man, everything I say, man, it makes a whole lot of sense. I told y'all that crooked Joe Biden wasn't gonna make it, man. He already know what time it is. Donald Trump exposed that man at debate, bro. And so now y'all guys should appreciate the fact that I ran that debate as much as I ran it. Because now y'all can see what's going on with that situation. It's over with, man. And then Kamala Harrison trying to run, man, y'all know she ain't finna outbeat no Trump. Man, it's over with. They might as well go ahead and crown Trump president right now. Put that man back in office so he can get this country back together. MAGA. Make America great again, man. We got to get Donald Trump back in the office, man. Y'all come on in the room, man. Hit that like button, share, subscribe, comment. Turn on all post notification bells, man. Y'all know what time it is, man. Come on, where y'all at, bro? Where y'all at? Y'all already know. I kept telling y'all, I say, man, if you sat back and pay attention to pretty much everything that was being said with that debate, man, you can definitely tap in and see that Joe Biden, he was defeated then. He displayed defeat then at the debate back in Atlanta a month ago. You see what I'm saying? So now y'all see why people kept asking me to respectfully replay that video, right? Because folks was actually locked in and keyed in and paying attention to exactly what was being said, man. And so Trump put a lot of stuff out there. He exposed Joe Biden. Y'all remember when he said, Joe Biden said in the early 90s that black peoples were super predators? Do y'all remember when he came and exposed that? Joe Biden couldn't say nothing about it. That's just like me accusing you of something. If you know it ain't true, man, what you gonna do? You gonna defend your character. But in this case, in this instance, sometimes you can't defend the truth, man. Even though if you try to make the attempt to defend the truth, it's just like you exposing yourself, man. So I already knew what time it was, man. I already knew that he was gonna pull out the race. So I got the video. I'm getting ready to run this video, man. Joe Biden officially removed himself from the presidential race. From my understanding, Kamala Harris supposed to be taking over, man. She ain't finna beat no Donald Trump. Y'all already know what time it is. That ain't gonna happen. Trump got it. The man that took a bullet too. The man that took a bullet. They tried to take the man out. What are we talking about, bro? Like, what are we talking about? Trump done already won it. Go ahead and crown him king. And see, now we finna see a big difference in America. We finna see the economy go back to like it was. And number two, those illegal immigrants, they gotta go. They finna go. It's over with. Trump done already said that. They gotta get up out of here. So now the illegal immigrants, now what we gotta do for everybody out there, y'all gotta be careful, man. Y'all gotta be super, super, ultra careful, man, because now these illegal immigrants, they know that Trump about to get back in office and they already know what Trump said he was gonna do, send them back. So y'all gotta be on point, man, because now them suckers might be trying to do anything by all means necessary because they know they finna get the hell up out of America. So I want y'all guys to be careful out there in the real world, man. But like I said, man, numbers don't lie, man. Numbers do not lie. Numbers do not lie. And I just knew that something was going to happen. Something was going to go on. Joe Biden was not going to last. It's over with. What's up, Miss Sweets? It's over and done. Matter of fact, Miss Sweets, let me know what your schedule looks like tomorrow, maybe around, I don't know if you Eastern Standard Time, but like I am, but I say around about 6:30 tomorrow, I want to go live with you. You know what I'm saying? You go on your live and you send me the link. I get my email over to you or whatever, and I want to go live with you. You know what I'm saying? And matter of fact, guys, Miss Sweets Talk, great lady. She got some great content, man. She be on a political thing as well, you know what I'm saying? So I'm going live with her tomorrow. So I definitely need y'all to support her. And my other homegirl, Your Average Logical Thinker, man, I'm going live with her Tuesday if she's available. Because what we trying to do, man, we trying to spread awareness on this social media platform, bro. You know what I'm saying? We trying to put the truth out there. We trying to awaken the people. You know what I'm saying? We ain't trying to promote and advertise no BS, no violence, or none of that. We ain't with that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm Central Time, okay? Yeah, okay, that's what's up. So, like I said, man, I'm with a team of women, bro. You can't lose when you got a team of smart women. You know what I'm saying? So definitely tap in. But anyway, man, I got this Joe Biden confession. He's removing himself from the presidential race. I already told y'all what was gonna happen. That's why I kept running that video. That's why people kept asking me, Steve, could you please run that debate? Because people was trying to figure out what was being said and what was going on so they can determine who they was going to vote for. So now, guess what happened? That benefit. My promotion and all that, it benefited. My video has been reaching people, whether y'all believe it or not. I'm going to post my analytics and show y'all guys. My videos have been reaching people, bro. I'm talking about in 4 days, I done reached almost 3 million overall views, bro. Those are unheard numbers right there. You feel what I'm saying? Those numbers are unheard. So somebody's sharing me out. But I also got some haters on YouTube too, man. So that's what I tell y'all guys. When y'all come in and watch the lives, man, hit the like button, bro. It's free. You know what I'm saying? If I put a poll up, comment on the poll. It's free. Subscribe. It's free. Turn on post notification bells. Because if you don't turn on your bells, YouTube is not going to notify you. You know what I'm saying? We got to get them numbers back up. We got to get back to the 30s and 40s and 50,000s. You feel me? I'm cool with the 10s and the 15s and the 20. I'm okay with that. But I'm on a mission goal. I told y'all guys what I'm trying to do. There's a lot of land and buildings around here that I'm trying to buy up, man, for these kids to give them something to do, man. So I need y'all to support a good, great cause. I ain't worrying about me. I don't give a damn about me. I done had my opportunity. I want to see these kids advance in life, bro. And I need y'all guys to help me out because if y'all feel the same way I feel about the youth, y'all ain't got a problem with supporting me. And I appreciate that. MAGA. Listen, man, let's get into this video, man. Let's check your boy Cricket Joe Biden out, man. This is hilarious. I'm like, man, it took you all this time to say that you was going to remove yourself from the race. You know you didn't have no win, man. If you have a YouTube community, man, go ahead and share the video, man. Share the video. Share the video. Let's get it. Damn, Joe Biden, man, this man had me tripping, man. I said, look at this cat here.
I sat down for an exclusive one-on-one interview with President Biden. During our conversation, the president called on all Americans to tone down the heated rhetoric in the wake of the assassination attempt on former President.
No, we don't want to hear that. We want to hear the truth. We want to hear the truth. Fuck what Biden said. We want to hear the truth. We want to know what really happened. That's what the people want to know.
Mr. Trump after the assassination attempt. Here's our unedited conversation in its entirety. Mr. President, thank you for sitting down with us. There's a lot to talk about. I'd like to start with the horrible events of last weekend. It has shocked a lot of Americans. A political rally, your opponent, Donald Trump, shot in the middle of greeting his supporters. You spoke to Mr. Trump afterward. Can you give me a sense of that conversation?
Very cordial. I told him how concerned I was and wanted to make sure I knew how he was actually doing. He sounded good. He said he was fine. And he thanked me for calling him. I told him he was literally in the prayers of Jill and me. And I hope his whole family was weathering this.
You were in Delaware when this happened. What was your first reaction?
The first reaction was, my God, look, there's so much violence now, the way we talk about it. I mean, and the whole notion that there is this, there's no place at all for violence in politics in America. None. Zero. And we've reached a point where it's become too commonplace, not assassinations, but to talk about it. For example, the January 6th, the attack on the Capitol, Lester, I got in this race early on in 2020 for the 2020 race. I wasn't going to run again because I lost my son. I didn't feel, and until I watched what happened in Charlottesville, Virginia. Those folks coming out of the woods with torches, carrying swastikas, singing the same Nazi bile. It was accompanied by this Ku Klux Klan. A young woman was killed, and I was a bystander. And the then president was asked, what do you think? He said, they're very fine people on both sides. Not fine people on both sides. No excuse, zero.
Well, let's talk about the conversation this has started, and it's really about language, what we say out loud and the consequences of those. You called your opponent an existential threat on a call a week ago. You said it's time to put Trump in the bullseye. there's some dispute about the context, but I think you appreciate
I
that
didn't say
words
crosshairs. I was talking about focus on. Look, the truth of the matter was, what I guess I was talking about at the time was, there was very little focus on Trump's.
Come on, let's get them views. Let's go, man. Let's go now. Let's go. I'm working. I'm working. Let's go. I'm working. Let's go.
I meant bullseye. I meant focus on it. Focus on what he's doing. Focus on his policies. Focus on the number of lies he told in the debate. Focus. I mean, there's a whole range of things that, look, I'm not the guy that said, I want to be a dictator on day one. I'm not the guy that refused to accept the outcome of the election. I'm not the guy who said that won't accept the outcome of this election automatically. You can't only love your country when you win. And so the focus was on what he's saying. And I mean, the idea.
But have you taken a step back and done a little soul searching on things that you may have said that could incite people who are not balanced?
Well, I don't think, look, how do you talk about the threat to democracy, which is real, when a president says things like he says? Do you just not say anything because it may incite somebody? Look, I'm not engaged in that rhetoric. Now, my opponent is engaged in that rhetoric. He talks about to be a bloodbath if he loses, talking about how he's going to forgive all the, actually, I guess, suspend the sentences of all those who were arrested and sentenced to go to jail because of what happened in the Capitol. I'm not out there making fun of, like, when remember the picture of Donald Trump when Nancy Pelosi's husband was hit with a hammer, talking about, joking about it.
This doesn't sound like you're turning down the heat, though. You've talked about
No. Look, when I'm turning down, we have to stop the whole notion that there are certain things that are contrary to our democracy that we're for. The idea of saying that I didn't win the election when every court in the land, I don't know, 20 appeals said, and including this conservative Supreme Court, said we won. The idea of having a loyalty pledge from all the folks who are in the Republican MAGA, not all Republicans, the MAGA Republicans, saying that no, we lost the election, inflaming the people that say,
So what can you and what will you do, at least things you can control to lower down the temperature, the rhetoric out there?
With Amazon's low back-to-school prices, you can spend less on school supplies, backpacks, and lunch boxes.
Quest again?
Yeah, again. Spend less on your kids.
Continue to talk about the things that matter to the American public. It matters whether or not you accept the outcome of elections. It matters whether or not you, for example, talk about how you're going to deal with the border instead of talking about people as being vermin and all. I mean, those things matter. That's the kind of language that is inflammatory.
Mr. President, you've been in politics a very long time, so let's speak frankly. We're all adults here. Has this shooting changed the trajectory of this race?
I don't know, and you don't know either.
I don't know, but have you got something you've given thought to?
No, I've thought less about the trajectory of the case than two things. One, what his health is, that was secure, number one. And number two, what happens from here on in terms of the kind of coverage that the president and vice president and former president and new vice president get in terms of, look, I've never seen a circumstance where you ride through certain rural areas of the country and people have signs there, big Trump signs with middle signs saying F Biden, and the little kid standing there putting up his middle finger. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that is just inflammatory and a kind of viciousness. It's a very different thing than to say, look, I really disagree with Trump's the way he takes care of taxes, the way he wants a $5 trillion tax cut for people who are making a lot of money next time around. Doesn't focus on working class people.
But those are policy issues, and our history is a country that can thoroughly hash out those issues.
And if you notice, what do I talk about with him? The policy issues where he's dividing the country. The policy issues that relate to democracy.
Another question, if I can, about Saturday. Of course, the former president was wounded. One of his supporters died. A couple more people were seriously injured. Was this a massive security failure?
I have had 2 meetings in the Situation Room with all the intelligence communities, the FBI, Secret Service, etc., and I've asked for a totally independent analysis, and we'll see what happens when that comes back.
Do you have confidence in the Secret Service? Do you feel safe?
I feel safe with the Secret Service, but look, and you saw what we did see was the Secret Service who responded risked their lives in responding. They're ready to give their lives to the president. The question is, should they have anticipated what happened? Or should they have done what they needed to do to prevent this from happening? That's a question that's an open question.
Is it acceptable that you have still not heard, at least publicly, from the Secret Service director?
Well, I've heard from them.
Have you heard from her publicly?
Publicly, I've sat down in a Situation Room downstairs. The Secret Service, the FBI, the national security agencies, the Homeland Security, all the major elements. And there's 2 pieces of this too. And it's not an excuse, it's just an explanation. There's a major piece of this relates to domestic, local law enforcement. They play a large role. And so there's a different I'm not saying they weren't competent either. I'm just saying it's a complicated process. And what has changed, by the way, Lester, is, you know me, I like to meet people. I like to walk out, shake hands, move, look at people in the eyes, see what they're thinking. It's really curtailed that ability on my part and everybody's part. And so, because there's a heightened notion that when you say there's nothing wrong with going to the Capitol, breaking in, threatening people, a couple cops dying, putting up a noose, a gallows for the former vice president, and somehow and then you say you're going to forgive people for that, you're going to pardon them. That was just a normal response. That is not. I have my entire career voted against and railed against and moved against the idea of violence is never appropriate. Never, 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 never in politics.
All right, I want to ask you about some other developing news today, if I can. Judge Cannon dismissed the documents case, as you may have heard, in Mar-a-Lago. Can I first get your reaction to that?
I'm not surprised. It comes from the immunity decision the Supreme Court ruled on, and Clarence Thomas, in his dissent, said that independent prosecutors appointed by the Attorney General aren't legit. That's the basis on which this judge moved to dismiss. And but I had an independent prosecutor look at me. They spent months on mine going through, and I was totally cooperative in and out of my house. And there were, I don't know, the last time in, there were like 10, 12 agents in my house for 9 hours unaccompanied, going through every single thing I had. That's appropriate. And they looked at me and concluded I didn't do a damn thing wrong. But my generic point is that it's, the basis upon which the case was thrown out, I find specious because I don't agree with Clarence Thomas' dissent and or the Supreme Court decision on immunity.
In light of this decision, the delay in the Georgia case, the Supreme Court decision on immunity, which you referenced, the former president has seen a series of legal wins recently. You have actively campaigned on his legal woes. Can you do anything like that anymore?
Well, sure. I can talk about what I think is appropriate. What I think is appropriate. I think the Supreme Court made a terrible decision. I think the justices he appointed have, in fact, been the most conservative. And I would argue, if you survey constitutional scholarship, they seem out of touch with what the founders intended.
Before this violent turn of events over the weekend, the talk, as you know, was about you and your future, if you should stay in the race. Your allies, James Clyburn, Nancy Pelosi, have kind of put it out there that they're waiting for your decision, giving you time to make your decision. What I hear from you is that you made your decision. Are you still comfortable in that decision? Has anything changed in the last several days?
No.
What do you make of people like Nancy Pelosi, though, who seem to be of the opinion that there is a window for you to make this choice? What aren't they getting?
Look, we knew this was going to be a close race from the moment he announced. The idea that we are in a situation where, if you look at all the polling data shows a lot of different things, but there's no wide gap between us. It's essentially a toss-up race. And I think one of the arguments that gets made, you have the most successful presidency of any president in modern history, maybe since Franklin Roosevelt. Passed more major legislation no one thought could get done. We're able to put together consensus. We're able to unite NATO. We're able to deal in foreign policy. Why don't you just decide to rest on those laurels? And the answer is because the job's not finished.
Do you feel like you've weathered the storm on this issue of whether you should be on the ticket or not?
Look, 14 million people voted for me to be the nominee in the Democratic Party. Okay? I listened to them.
In your last TV interview, you were asked if you had watched the debate. Your answer was, I don't think so, no. Have you since seen it?
I've seen pieces of it. I've not watched the whole debate.
And the reason I ask, because I guess the question is, are you all on the same page? Are you seeing what they saw, which was moments of, frankly, you appeared to be confused?
Lester, look. Why don't you guys ever talk about the 28 lies he told?
Romans, I will give you the greatest games on earth!
The crowd wants to see chariot racing and be close enough to see blood. A 4-horse race is silly, said. It's all nothing.
Oh, Marco's Pepperoni Magnifico. Classic and old world pepperoni on...
Where are you on this? Why didn't the press ever talk about that? 28 times it's confirmed he lied in that debate. I had a bad night. I wasn't feeling well at all. And I had been, without it making it, I screwed up. But
I just asked the question because the idea that you may or may not have seen what some of these other folks have seen, you're not on the same...
I got to see, I was there. I got to see it, I was there. And by the way, seriously, you won't answer the question, but why didn't the press talk about all the lies he told?
Well,
I didn't know anything about that.
We have reported many of the issues that came up during that debate.
No, you haven't.
We'll provide you with them.
God love you.
Okay. President Obama put out a statement after the debate, but should he and Michelle Obama be doing more to express their confidence in you?
No, they're helping me. They've helped me from the beginning. This is my job to get this done.
Have you talked to him recently about this?
I haven't talked to him in a couple weeks.
Have you talked to him since this issue came to light, since the debate?
I may have. I don't think so.
Who do you listen to on deeply personal issues like the decisions whether to stay in the race or not?
Me. Look, I've been doing this a long time. The idea that I'm the old guy, I am. I'm old. But I'm only 3 years older than Trump, number one. And number two, my mental acuity's been pretty damn good. I've gotten more done than any president has in a long time, in 3.5 years. So I'm willing to be judged on that. I understand why people say, God, he's 81 years old. Whoa, what's he going to be when he's 83 years old or 84 years old? It's a legitimate question to ask.
I want to ask you about, just shortly before you and I sat down, former President Trump named his vice presidential pick, J.D. Vance. What does that tell you, his qualities, what does that tell you about former President Trump's values in terms of who he will surround himself with in the next administration should he win?
Well, it's not unusual. He's going to surround himself with people who agree completely with him. Have a voting record. I support him. Even though if you go back and listen to the things that J.D. Vance said about Trump.
Well, he said some things about you, yeah.
Well, he said something about me, but see what he said about Trump. What's with you guys? Come on, man. Look, The point I'm making is that J.D. Vance has adopted the same policies, no exceptions on abortion, making sure that he supports the new $5 trillion tax cut that Trump wants to give in the next administration, signing on to the whole notion of whether or not he says there's no climate change happening. I mean, he signed on to the Trump agenda, which he should if he's right over Trump.
Mr. Trump has said he's giving you a chance to redeem yourself. Basically, the idea of engaging in another debate.
We're going to have another debate.
Yeah, you're going to have one in September that's on the books. Would you be open to doing one in the next few weeks?
I'm going to debate him when we agreed to debate, and I'm going to debate him in September.
But if the opportunity came up to do one between now and then, is there a sense of wanting to get back on the horse?
I'm on the horse. Where have you been? I've done 22 major events, met thousands of people, overwhelming crowds, a lot happening. I'm on the horse. What I'm doing is going out and demonstrating to the American people that I'm in command of all my faculties, that I don't need notes, I don't need teleprompter. I can go out and answer any questions at all. And I stood there when NATO was in town. I stood there for an hour and answered questions.
If you were to continue to run and be officially nominated, what happens if you have another episode like we saw during the debate?
What happened?
Yeah, what happens if you have another performance on that level?
I don't plan on having another performance on that level.
All right. Mr. President, it's always good to talk to you, good to see you. Thank you for making some time for us.
Sometimes come and talk to you about what we should be talking about.
All right.
Okay, the issues.
Always happy to talk. That was our honest.
All right, now, guys, y'all heard that. Y'all just not seen that. Sonya, appreciate the super chats. I appreciate that. I'm very appreciative. So I wanted to play that one first to give y'all a clear idea as to what's going on with this debate, right? Basically, my man Lester Holt just put him on blast. You see what I'm saying? You went at your best at that rally, right? And I'm going to tell you why he went at his best at that rally. Simply because he didn't even know what the fuck was going on. He already knew a lot of stuff that he'd been doing to the American people since he'd been in office was going to come out. He already knew Trump was going to expose him. It doesn't matter if he would have been prepared. He would have been unprepared. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't fight or contest lies or the truth, bro. You can't do it. Trump exposed him. Bottom line. So what we're going to do now, we're going to go to the next video, because now this next video is pretty much him saying, I'm getting out of the race. I don't want to race. I don't want to run no more. Da-da-da-da-da, whatever the case may be. Man, look at here, man. I've been telling y'all guys from day one, all y'all got to do is just pay attention to what I say. I don't know everything. I'm not going to sit here and try to make it seem like I'm the smartest person in the world and I know everything that's going on. Now, I'm not even going to sit here and put myself out there in a situation like that. But Kamala Harris won't get it. Y'all can take her name out the chat. She ain't got nothing going on. You might as well go ahead and forget about that, man. You ain't finna have a Democrat. Man, you ain't finna have no Democrat in office. It's going to be a Republican. Either it's going to be Donald Trump. If it ain't Trump, it's going to be a Republican. And if it's a Republican, Trump still going to be enough. You know what I'm saying? Trump still going to call shots. Y'all got to think about it. When Trump was in office, Trump the one put everything together. He already knew what was going on. He created all these policies, man, that was actually working for the American peoples. You know what I'm saying? The border was shut down. The economies was straight. We weren't facing or dealing with inflation. It wasn't none of that stuff going on. There wasn't none of this killing with these illegal immigrants over here, raping and killing these little 12-year-old girls and shit, or these single parents and stuff, mothers or whatever. It wasn't none of that stuff going on when Trump was in office. So now the American peoples realize, hey, we went out here and voted for somebody that we had a lot of confidence within, somebody that we actually thought was going to do what they say they was going to do, and they didn't live up to their expectations. And I'm talking about Joe Biden. You feel what I'm saying? So what I need y'all to do, there is no obligation, right? Nobody's obligated. Super chat is open, man. This lady Sonya done blessed me twice on both of my lives. Man, y'all send me $2.99. Send me $1.99. Membership same for $3.99. You know what I'm saying? Once a month. You know you can unsubscribe anytime you want to. You know what I'm saying? Show me some love, man. I'm going hard for y'all guys, man. I'm giving y'all good information, man. I'm giving y'all knowledge, man. I'm keeping y'all on your pivot at all times. You feel what I'm saying? So y'all support me, man. If you can't do that, make sure you hitting that like button when you come in my live, bro. That like button helps me get in the algorithm. You feel what I'm saying? And if you have a YouTube community, man, share me in your community, bro. Teamwork makes the dream work. You know what I'm saying? If I can help you, reach out to me, and I will do likewise for you. I will share you in my YouTube community. We got to work as a team. You feel what I'm saying? But right now, this Trump train is working, man. So let's get into this next video, right? Because this next video is all about Trump, right? And I want y'all to see exactly what Trump had to say about Joe Biden pulling himself out the race. Come on, man. Don't get off the live. Don't get off the live. Stay on the live, man. Come on now. Every time I step away, y'all step off. Don't do it like that. If we're going to work as a team, or we're going to do this thing together, stay on the live video. Y'all got to give me time to get the live together, bro. I just can't make it happen. You know what I'm saying? Work with me. Give me some time. Don't just jump off and leave me hanging. You feel me? Don't just leave me hanging. Don't leave. I had to shut that down real fast because I don't want to get hit with copyright. You feel me? Make sure this over with. Okay, let's go. Here we go. Let's go. Let's get it.
I was the one that picked it. These lying people that they say, oh, he
appreciate that super chat. Let's go. Let's go. Come on, man. Get them super chats going. Help me out, bro. Help me out. It's going to help the channel grow. I'm trying to tell y'all, it's going to help the channel grow, man. Send them super chats. If it ain't but $1.99. That ain't a whole lot of money, bro. We spend $200 on a pair of Jordans. You feel me?
They have a horrible candidate. They have a candidate that has no clue, doesn't know where he is, and all they can do is lie. I love it. I'm the one that picked Milwaukee officially. So, and you had, and I think you had about 10 congressmen in a meeting that we had recently where I said how much I like Milwaukee. They all came out. They said, that's what he said. We can't help it. And they're truthful people. But I just want to begin by saying, hello, Wisconsin. Hello. Great state. We've had great success here. It's great to be back in this beautiful state with thousands and thousands of proud, hardworking American patriots. What a crowd. What a crowd. With your help, 5 months from now, we're going to win Wisconsin. We're going to defeat your radical left Democrat senator, one of the worst in the Senate. Nobody even knows she's a senator. I mean, frankly, she's not doing a good job representing. We have somebody that's going to be great. So, but we're going to defeat your Senator Tammy Baldwin. We're going to elect Eric Hovde of this area, by the way, who's a great gentleman, and spent a lot of time with him. He and his wife are incredible people. He's going to be a great representative. They're going to be great representatives of your state. But we're going to elect him to the U.S. Senate. We're going to evict weak, failed, and incompetent Joe Biden. He's an incompetent person from the White House. And quite simply, we are going to make America great again. Less than 4 years ago, our border was secure, inflation was nowhere to be seen, the world was at peace, and America was strong and respected. We were respected all over the world. None of this stuff would have been happening that's happened now with Russia and Ukraine and the attack on Israel. None of it would have been happening. We would have had we wouldn't have had a thing called inflation. That would have been nice too. But it was a different place 4 years ago, I think. But now we're going to make it better and bigger and stronger than ever before. But you had a president who put America first. I put America first. They put America last. Under crooked Joe Biden, the world is in flames. Our border is overrun. Inflation is raging. Europe is in total chaos. The Middle East is exploding. Iran is emboldened. China is on the march. And the worst, most incompetent, most corrupt president in history is going to drag us into World War III.
Let's go.
Other than that, he's doing quite a good job, don't you think? Quite. Joe Biden is humiliating our country on the world stage. He's actually humiliating.
Let's go with them super chats, man. If you can't send no money, man, like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on your post notification bells. The Trump train is finna officially get serious. Joe Biden done dropped out the race. I got some great content that's coming up to y'all guys tomorrow morning. Lock in with me. Come on, let's go, guys.
He doesn't know what AI is, but that's okay. Now they're saying the media is manipulating. Oh, he's saying the media is manipulating. Now, on that one, I have to stick up for the media. I have to tell you. He said the media is manipulating the pictures of him constantly not knowing where the hell he is. They're doing just the opposite. They're making him look better. At the G7 in Europe, and he had to be rescued by other world leaders. They had to pull him back. Then he bizarrely put his face on the Pope's forehead. What was that all about? That was weird. Vivek is here. That was weird, Vivek. I don't know. Did you see the Pope? The Pope is like, what's happening? The Pope didn't really know what was happening. He said, this is strange. Then he froze during the celebration on the White House lawn. Then Barack Hussein Obama had to grab his hand and lead him off the stage as though he were a child. I have to tell you, Obama could have handled that differently. He could have done it a little bit softer. He could have done it like, let's go. He didn't have to grab him and pull him off the stage, but he looked good, and I guess that was his primary purpose. He wanted to look good. He could have done a better job. In fact, the Biden people were very upset about that whole incident, but yet to be discussed. But Crooked Joe and his handlers are insisting he's sharper than ever, and they say the videos of Crooked Joe shuffling around are clean fakes. You know what a clean fake is? They're deceptively edited. They say they're deceptively edited. All of the mistakes that he's made every day. He can't go anywhere without a mistake. Now, if I'm perfect, they say he made a mistake. He did perfect. And I don't say clean fakes, although they do. They do that. They do that. They're the fake news. Look how many you have out there. They're all over the place. But with me, they take a good speech and they make it look as bad as possible. With him, they take the worst speech you've ever heard and they try and make him look like semi-normal. These are shameless liars who are trying to deceive you about other people, the people that represent Biden. They're shameless liars. They're the Russia people, the laptop from hell people, the 51 intelligence agent people. They're the people that said all sorts of lies about military, about our great military. They make up stories about our military. It's disgraceful what they can do, and they're so destructive to our country. They're the people that really destroy everything that they touch. That's why this November, the people of Wisconsin are going to tell Crooked Joe Biden, you remember? The Apprentice, you're fired. Get out. You've done a horrible job. You've done a horrible job. Worst president in history. Get out. You're fired. Get out. We can't get him out fast enough. I'm worried about the next 5 months. We could end up in World War III with this person. He's the worst president ever. The Biden administration has been nonstop catastrophe. He has been a catastrophe. It's been a nonstop catastrophe, but one of Crooked Joe's most destructive moves yet is the lawless executive action he is taking today. You've been reading in the middle of the largest border invasion in world history. There's never been a border in the world that's like this border that we have, where probably 17, 18 million people by now have entered our country illegally. Joe Biden's granting mass, he's going to formally grant a mass amnesty to millions of illegal aliens that came into our country. And you have people that have been working for 10 years to try and come in legally, and they just keep working. Under this program, a deluge of illegals will be given immediate green cards and put on the fast track to rapid citizenship so they can vote. I think a lot of them are going to vote for me. You want to know the truth? Because if you look at the Hispanic population, if you look at the black population, they're voting for Trump. They're voting for Trump. You, look at you. You. Thank you. I like that person right there. But they give them they give them welfare, they give them free health care, food stamps. Chain migration, one of the catastrophic things, one of the many catastrophic things that we're confronted with when they come in. Crooked Joe is sending a message to the world that he rewards illegal entry, and that's what's happening. They hear about all of the things that are coming in, and don't kid yourself, the ones that are hurt the most, the black population, the Hispanic population, and you know what else? Who else is hurt badly? Unions. Because unions are not able to compete with this. This is a mass entry into our country, and the unions are getting absolutely killed by it. All an illegal alien has to do is sign up for his new program. It's a sham marriage or college degree. Think of this. And they can expect amnesty and taxpayer support. They want to get taxpayer support. We are supporting people that come in illegally, but our soldiers, our veterans, are dying on the streets of these horribly run Democrat cities. Our country is under invasion. We should not be talking amnesty. We should be talking about stopping the invasion instead. This is an invasion of our country. We have to seal the border. We have to let people come into our country, but they have to come in legally. We have to send Joe Biden's illegal aliens back home where they belong. We have no choice. We have no choice. Don't forget, all over the world, the prisons, the jails, the mental institutions, the insane asylums, they're all being emptied out. And I don't blame them. I know the leaders. I know so many of the leaders. I had to deal with them. I dealt with them very nicely. I said, you don't behave, we're not going to give you any of the money. We pay them so much money and they do nothing. Get stolen all over the place. But I had a lot of things. We wanted to bring them back. They wouldn't let them come back. I was told that for years Obama couldn't get anybody out. We suffered with MS-13 by the thousands and thousands that killed people, that cut up. 2 young girls cut up in Long Island, cut up to pieces and died by MS-13 monsters, and we couldn't get them out of our country. And I came back and I said, why? They said they won't take them back. Honduras, you take a look at Honduras, and any one of the Mexico to a certain extent, Mexico a little bit less, but we have countries all over South America, countries all over the world that wouldn't take them back. But in the case of the 4 countries, I said, here's what we do. El Salvador is an example, very tough, smart, good leader, but I would have been more advanced than him. I would have had the jails completely empty instead of almost empty. You know, if you take a look at Venezuela, you see what's happening there. 72% down in crime because they're taking their gangs, their drug dealers, also their prisoners. And where have they brought them? To the United States of America. Thank you very much. No. Who can believe that they allow this to happen to our country? Now, who can believe that they would do this to our country? Now, Joe Biden doesn't have a clue. Now, we're going to watch. Is anybody going to watch the debate? He's going to be so pumped up. He's going to be pumped up. You know all that stuff that was missing about a month ago from the White House? What happened? Who left it? Somebody left it there. I wonder, let's see, somebody left a laptop in an office of a gentleman who was supposed to fix the laptop from hell. He never picked it up, and somebody didn't pick up hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of cocaine. I wonder who that could have been. I don't know. Actually, I think it was Joe. But Crooked Joe's action today is an illegal, unconstitutional amnesty without approval from Congress, no approval from the courts or the American people, but he never does that. He did that with the tuition, and that didn't work out too well. He got rebuked, and then he did it again. It's going to get rebuked again, even more so. It's an even more vile attack. But he did that with tuition just to get the publicity for the election. He doesn't care about that. He just wants to see if he can get it by the election. Like with all my stuff, they get these people from all over, go after Trump. They never did this before. This is like third world country stuff. Go after Trump. but he did nothing wrong. That doesn't matter. Just go after him. Go after him. And we don't care what happens after the election. Just do it. Mess it up. No country has ever done this outside of a few third world horrible banana republics. Very rarely done. This Biden amnesty is a direct attack on American democracy, and yet another example is how Biden and his communists are demolishing our constitutional system and replacing it with a corrupt and fascist regime. These are fascists. These are bad people. And I don't think he's calling the shots. I'll be honest. I think he's not. I'm talking to you like a small little gathering of, 20,000 people. But I don't think he's calling the shots. I really don't. I almost sound when I talk about, Alphonse Capone was indicted less than Trump. I'd never heard the word indictment, and then all of a sudden, that's coming from all different angles at me, all caused by Biden and his thugs. But is that going to happen? It's interesting because we're doing better now than we've ever done because people know it's a scam. It's a big scam. And the Biden betrayal is not going to stand. When I'm reelected, Joe Biden's illegal amnesty plan will be ripped up and thrown out on the very first day that we're back in office. Because he's just using that group. But he's going to let everybody come in because you know what they're trying to do? They're trying to sign these people up and register them. They're not citizens. They're not allowed to do it. It's illegal as hell. We're filing court cases all over the place, including here, but we're filing court. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to use all of these people that are pouring into our country to vote. What other reason? Look, it's either they're stupid, they're not stupid. He is, but they're not stupid. The people that surround him, his leaders, his leaders aren't stupid. You can't cheat that well at an election and be stupid, okay? But, so you say they're either stupid or they hate our country, or the third thing is they want to sign people up to vote. And that's what they're doing. Right now, they're signing people up to vote. The people don't even know where they are. And they're getting them cards to vote. They're trying to register them to vote. And we're in courts all over the place, and we're going to get it stopped, and we're not going to let what they did 4 years ago happen again. Our country is being destroyed. Joe Biden wants to be the president for illegal aliens, but I will be the president for law-abiding Americans, every background, every walk of life, every race, religion, color, and creed. I'll be the president. Crooked Joe's mass amnesty comes in the wake of a series of horrific murders by, I call them the Biden illegals. They come in here so illegally. They just walk across, not vetted, not checked. All over the world they're coming from. The Congo and Africa, 22 people coming out of jails recently. And where are you from? The Congo. Where did you live? In a jail. What did you do? We don't want to say. But they come from Africa, from Asia. They come from the Middle East. They come from South America, but they come from all over the world. And they're really in many cases, very, very bad people. The only good thing is they make our gang members look like nice people by comparison. You know the good thing about Biden's administration, right? He makes Jimmy Carter look like a genius by comparison. Jimmy Carter's administration looked brilliant by comparison. In all fairness, he wasn't doing things like this. He wasn't allowing 17, 18 million people to walk into our country unchecked, unvetted. We have no idea who the hell they are. Day after day, week after week, more Americans are raped, kidnapped, and brutally killed at the hands of criminals. And Joe Biden released them into our country. He released them all. We had, by the way, 4 years ago, I wish they could put it up on the screen, we had the strongest border in the history of our country. Now we have the weakest border in the history of the world. In the history of the world. Oh, there it is. Take a look. That cost a little money to bring that sucker up here. But take a look at that. You see the red arrow on the bottom? That was the week I left office. What a sad day that was for the country. But that was the week I left office. See the red arrow on the bottom? That's the only one you have to even look at. That was the last week in office for Trump. Look at the number. That was the lowest number in the history of our country of illegals coming in. But you can also add drugs and other things, okay? But look at that number. And that was done by Border Patrol. Look at that number. And then look what happens as soon as I leave. Look at the numbers on the right. That's the largest influx of people ever to come to any country. There's never been anything like this. And we don't know where they come from, who they are. We don't have any records. There's no way to check it. You know, they come from some country that nobody ever heard of. They don't keep records, and we don't get their records, and we don't know what we're taking in. But you know one thing. You remember the snake. It's not going to be good, right? It's not going to be good. When you let in the snake, when you let in people that come out of prisons for murder, it's not going to end well. We're going to have a lot of problems, and we're going to get them out. We're going to get them out as fast as we can. We're going to have the largest deportation. We have no choice. Just last week, another Biden migrant was arrested for the savage murder of an innocent American woman. You probably all read about it. In Maryland, Rachel Morin, 37 years old, mother of 5, beautiful woman, nice woman, everybody loved her. Police believe that this animal was responsible for Rachel's killing, first murdered another young woman in El Salvador, came from El Salvador, murdered a woman, at least one, then fled across this Joe Biden open border. Just come on in, everybody. We won't even check your name. And came into the United States, after which she savagely attacked a 9-year-old girl and her mother in a home invasion in Los Angeles in an area that was supposed to be safe. And finally, he's charged with raping and murdering Rachel when she was out for a run. She was running, wanted to keep herself in shape before dumping her body into a drainage ditch. That's how they found her, into a drainage ditch. This monster should never have been allowed into our country, and if I was president, he would never have been able to come in. He would have never been able to come in. You see those numbers. USA, 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 USA. Thank you very much. Just like the killer, and you've read about this too, Laken Riley, beautiful Laken Riley, would have never been in our country. Laken was the topper of her class. She wanted to be a nurse. She was the top student, the top everything. She was admired by everybody that knew her. And she was murdered by the same kind of a person that came in here under Biden's but there is no policy. They just come in. They just came in. And, you know, I listened to Tom Homan the other day. Tom Homan's great, real pro. He said there's never been an administration so good on the border and so good generally, but he's a border guy. He's a pure, powerful border guy. He said there's never been an administration like Trump. It's the greatest border, the safest border we've ever had. All these murders that are taking place and all the murders that will take place, you're just seeing the beginning. They're just getting comfortable, you know? They're here for a little while. They're not going to start up. They want to find out. They're just getting comfortable. Now they're having fistfights with cops in the middle of the street. Think of that. In the middle of New York City, they have a guy fist fighting with a cop. I've seen cops shot. I've seen a lot of things. But a fist fight, that's really like crazy. And they're duking it out in the middle of the street. And if that happened to him in his country, they would have had him killed immediately. He would have been killed immediately. But here we're very nice. We're politically correct. Also recently in New York, an illegal alien with mutual and multiple prior arrests approached 2 13-year-old children with a machete in broad daylight, forced them into the woods, tied them together by the wrist, and raped the girl at a park in Queens. I grew up in Queens. When I'm reelected, we will begin removing these criminals, these horrible people from our midst, and we'll end up doing it immediately. We're going to do it immediately.
Then chicken tanning bed. We sauce and toss to order instead.
It's not like we have a choice. Right? Do we have a choice? We're not going to live like this. You know that area in Queens, I said, that's where I grew up. I grew up right near that area. It was unthinkable. My parents, I'd go to the park. It was like 20 blocks away. I'd take a bicycle and ride there. Nobody thought anything was going to happen. I did that for years. played baseball and different things in the park, and you'd ride and you'd come back home. Mother would say, "Hi, darling, would you like something to eat?" Today, if you let your kid out of the house for 5 minutes, the kid is gone. You never see the. It's horrible what's going on. We're not living. We're not living the proper life. This is not appropriate. What's happening? Our country is so badly run. And by the way, Kenosha. I saved Kenosha. Do you know that? When I was president, right? I saved it. Kenosha was about ready to go down the tubes, and the governor wouldn't move. He just wouldn't move, and I moved. I'm not supposed to. It's supposed to be the governor supposed to do it, the mayor and the governor. But we did a great job, and we saved a lot of different places, and some here. We saved a lot of places. Joe Biden's amnesty is also a cold-blooded betrayal of American seniors. By the way, did you see Nancy Pelosi? Her daughter did a documentary, Crazy Nancy. No, this happened just a couple of days. They found the documentary. Her daughter, who's a, quote, documentary maker, has a documentary where Nancy Pelosi is saying it's my fault, meaning her fault, not my fault, her fault, that she takes full responsibility for what's happening. That's as the event is happening. You know why? Because she was being honest for the first couple of hours, and I offered them 10,000 soldiers because I knew the crowd was going to be big. But I offered them 10,000 soldiers, and she turned it down. She said, "Oh, I don't like the look." She turned it down. And the mayor of Washington, D.C., which we're going to redevelop and make beautiful again, because right now it's a crime-ridden capital. But they turned it down. They turned down the stuff. And now the J6 committee, I call it the unselect committee. They're unselect. They're the most unselect. We should have people like you. We should have put Vivek on the committee, right? And our congressman on the committee, right? But the unselect committee of political thugs, the evidence was so bad and so compelling against the Democrats and against the people that are supposed to be doing that job, that they destroyed and deleted all of everything is deleted. Remember, they said I attacked Secret Service agents while I was in the back of a car. And I have friends that say, "Don't change that story. Man, you sound tough as hell." That's good. These guys are like 30 years old. One is a weightlifter. The other one's a karate top guy or something. I went for the one who was rebuffed. But my hands wrapped around the other one's neck. I would have been in trouble if I did that, I think. But what happened is when Secret Service went in, they totally told the proper story, which was nothing happened. Absolutely nothing happened. Then she supposedly changed. She said something went on there. But that's just one of many things. The Pelosi thing is something that is totally on the record. And they've deleted and destroyed all of the records. And they are really disgraceful people. Remember, I said peacefully and patriotically, right? Peacefully. They didn't have that in my speech. They put my speech up, but they took phrases out like peacefully and patriotically. And these are very dishonest people. I say we have problems from the outside and problems from within. And I really believe that you have a smart president. I had no problem with China. I had no problem with Russia. I stopped Russia. Russia would have never gone into Ukraine. I stopped their pipeline going into Germany, which Biden immediately approved. The first week that he was there, he approved it. And Putin actually said, they say that you and I are friends. I'd hate to see you as an enemy. You stopped my pipeline. It was stopped. Going to Germany, going all over Europe, and Biden immediately approved it. But he killed our pipeline. The Keystone, he stopped our pipeline. The Keystone XL, 48,000 jobs. He stopped our pipeline. Biden and his party are hell-bent on legalizing every single Biden migrant who has violated our borders, dumping millions of people onto Medicare and Social Security and even Obamacare. By the way, all of these people going onto Social Security, Medicare, Obamacare, whatever you want to call it, it's going to destroy all of them. It's not going to be able, it's not sustainable. They're going to ruin your Social Security. This guy's killing your Social Security. Biden and the Democrats are wheeling Granny off the cliff to give benefits to illegal aliens. They're giving the benefits to the illegals. And a stat that came out the other day is that almost all of the new jobs in this country are going to illegals. They're not going to our people. They're going to illegals. And that's why the black population, Hispanic population, is voting for me at levels that nobody's ever seen before in this country. Because they're not getting the jobs. In fact, they're losing their jobs. As president, I will fight for American seniors like nobody has ever fought before, and we will not be fighting for the Biden illegals, as I call them. I will fight for American workers, not for human traffickers. I will fight for the American dreamers, not the child smugglers and woman smugglers. And I will restore the sovereign borders of the United States of America. So help me God. Thank you very much. Thank you. You know, they actually have the best location. People think it's, no, people think it's them, but it's not, because nobody sees you on camera. They're on camera for an hour and a half, depending on. And in numerous cases, perhaps they become Hollywood stars. You know, they'll say, who's that person with great star appeal behind Trump? Say, let's see. Got a few of them. You never know. Hey, you never know. What is a star, after all? What is a star? I will also take immediate action to save our economy. Our economy is doing terribly. Inflation has killed our economy. It's a nation buster. On the last day in office, inflation was at less than 1.4%, and as you know, it's now 10. Hey, look, if you take a look at our inflation, our real inflation, they said it was 10 for the last couple of years cumulatively. You take a look at inflation, and if you add different categories, which they don't, I think our inflation is between 40 and 50%. They say it's at 22%. 22% is a lot. That's record setting. But I think you could double it. Let them add the cost of interest. Let them add the cost of trying to buy a house. Nobody can buy a house anymore. The American dream is dead. The money they can't get, the interest rates through the roof. During my term, we had gasoline down to $1.87 a gallon. And by the end, the 30-year mortgage rate was 2.7%. Think of that, and now it's 10%, 11%, 12%, and you can't get the money, so it doesn't make any difference. They can tell you what the rate is, but you can't get the money. Joe Biden inherited the fastest and strongest economic recovery in history. I gave him the greatest economic recovery in history. It's called bounce back. We were all set. We were set. I hated. We had the greatest economy ever in the history of the world. COVID came in, and we did an unbelievable job. And by the time we ended, we gave him the greatest bounce back that anybody's ever had. And guess what? He blew it to shreds. And that's where we are right now. Biden's inflation, price hikes, and energy destruction have cost the average American family an astonishing $28,000. Think of that, $28,000. And on day one of my new administration, we will throw out Bidenomics and replace it with Maganomics. And it was just announced, you probably heard it, just came as I'm walking up. I say, let me say that. I'm walking up here. It was just announced that the budget deficit is now expected to be almost $2 trillion in 2024. Think of it, $2 trillion. Let's see, 2024, that might not be so good because I take over. They're going to say I have a $2 trillion deficit. I say I didn't do anything. But we'll get it down. $400 billion more than estimated just a few months ago because he's throwing money out the window on the Green New Scam and other things, because this student loan program, which it's not even legal. I mean, it's not even legal. And the students aren't buying it, by the way. His polls are down. I'm leading in young people by numbers that nobody's ever seen before. And remember, with Trump, no tax on tips. So for all you people, a couple of people that get tips, right? Tips? No tax on tips. That's right. No, I think it's good. You know, you work, and they come out and they harass you. They really harass you. A lot of people have told me that. He's just passed new regulations that make it very, very hard on people that earn tips really for a living. For the most part, they live on tips. I will stop Biden's wasteful spending and rapidly terminate the Green New Scam, which is a total scam. We're spending money like drunken sailors. You know the expression, drunken sailors? They love that expression. I will end the Biden inflation nightmare, and we will end it quickly. And I will repeal crooked Joe Biden's insane electric vehicle mandate, and we will drill, baby, drill. We will drill, baby, drill. Right? Thank you. Thank you. Energy costs will come down very quickly. In many cases, we'll be cutting your energy costs in half, and we're going to be doing it very fast. I will also stop inflation by stopping the invasion, rapidly reducing housing costs. You know, they're taking over our hotels. Think of it. You have people that come in illegally that don't speak the language. We don't even know the country. These are countries where we have nobody in our country that even understands the language. And they're living in luxury hotels in many cases. As I said, as our wonderful warriors they're wounded. In many cases, they are literally wounded. They're wounded from what's taken place, from the trauma, but they're wounded. And they're laying in the streets of San Francisco and Los Angeles and New York and Chicago and Oakland and all over the place. And you have other people living in luxury hotels. You tell me, is this country screwed up or what? Is this country... We will cut every unnecessary Biden regulation. You know, I cut regulations more than any president in history. That's how we got all the jobs. And I cut your taxes, the biggest tax cut in the history of our country. And we will make the Trump tax cuts permanent and reduce taxes even more for working families and small businesses. They want to let the Trump tax cuts expire. If you do that, you will pay 4 times the amount of tax that you're paying right now. Somehow, you know, all my life I've watched politicians, and they've always said, I'm going to reduce your taxes. This is the only group I've ever seen, we're going to raise your taxes by 4 times. Oh, let's vote for them. There's something crazy going on. There's something crazy in the water. But, you know, I produce the cleanest water and the cleanest air. That's what I want. I want clean water, clean, crystal clean air. Unlike me, Joe Biden isn't fighting for the working people. He's fighting for all of the corrupt interests that get rich off the suffering of the middle class. And he's fighting for China. And he's fighting for lots of other countries. He puts America last. Crooked Joe backed NAFTA, China's entry into the World Trade Organization, and the horrible Trans-Pacific Partnership, and also the ripoff called the Paris Climate Accord. Sounds so nice. Except we were paying the whole brunt of it. China wasn't paying, Russia wasn't paying, India wasn't paying. We were paying $1 trillion for the Paris Climate Accord. Sounds so nice. I said, you know, when I terminate this deal, I'm going to get killed on this one. I terminated it. Everybody thanked me. It was like, because they all know the people are really smart. They get it. They get it. What we are doing for other countries, and we're destroying ourselves, and we owe $35 trillion. You know, it's not like, gee, we have nothing but cash. He sent our blood and treasure to back regime change in Iraq, regime change in Libya, regime change in Syria, and every other globalist disaster for half a century. It's been going on the same. I took our soldiers out. You know, I'm the only president that didn't start a war. I'm the only president. I finished the war. I finished it. I finished the war with ISIS, the ISIS Caliphate. I finished it. But I didn't start a war. I got our soldiers out of Syria. I read this morning that, oh, gee, it was a shame. We had 5,000 soldiers on the border, Syria and Turkey. right on the border. So you have Syria, Turkey, and in the middle we have 5,000. In between, a 250,000 person army and 150,000. I went to a general. I say, how do our 5,000 soldiers do in that case? You got two warring nations. And they say, not good, sir. I say, I think it's time to get them out, right? I got them out. Then we had 54 soldiers. And I say, this one I don't have to ask a general. Get them the hell out of there. You know what? Essentially, nothing happened. They've had that border for 2,000 years, different names. But they've had that border for 2,000 years. They've been fighting for 2,000 years. Why do we have soldiers here? I took them out. And we didn't have people killed. We had nobody killed. And they still fight over the border a little bit, but not much. It's, you know, they fight for a little while, then they stop. This goes on for thousands of years. No, you know, we are now, we call ourselves, because, you know, I'm conservative. What difference? The party of common sense. We're the party of common sense. It's not a conservative thing. It's not a liberal thing or a Democrat or Republican thing. After years of Crooked Joe building up foreign nations under my leadership, we will once again build up our nation, if that's okay. Let's build up our nation. I think it's time, right? This looks like a good soldier there. I will revoke China's most favored nation's trade status. They have a most favored nation. They're favored. I said, why do you have that presidency? Well, we are a developing nation. You got nothing but cash. You're killing us. We paid them $500 billion a year. They built their military because of stupid people. And one thing, you know, somebody said it, you don't even think about it. I read it 2 nights ago. Donald Trump was the one that brought up China and the tremendous threat that China is and the amount of money that China takes out of our country every year. You never heard that until I came along. And, you know, it's one thing to talk about it, but I did talk about it. But I was doing something. We took out hundreds of billions of dollars out of China. Not one president took out 10 cents. In fact, Biden wants to revoke the tariffs, but he can't because it's so much money. He can't do it. He just can't do it. I also will pass the Trump Reciprocal Trade Act. That's if China or any other country makes us pay 100 or 200% tariff or tax, we will make them pay a reciprocal tariff or tax of 100 or 200% right back. We don't do that. We have countries, and it's not only China, it's many countries. We have countries that charge us tremendous taxes and tariffs, and we don't charge them anything. And I was changing that and got a lot of it changed with South Korea, with Japan, made a new deal with Japan. Oh, Japan was really, you know, Prime Minister Abe, he was great. Of Japan. He was assassinated. He was a great friend of mine. He was a great gentleman. He loved his people. He loved his country. I went to him. I said, you know, the trade deal between Japan and the United States is the most unfair thing I think I've ever seen. They sell cars to us. We can't sell cars to them. They sell food to us. We can't sell food to them. And it's that way with the European Union too. And I said to Abe, I love that guy. He was great. He was going to run again. He was getting well, and he was going to run again. Very popular guy who would have won easily. But I said, we can't do this. He said, I was waiting for you to ask. He said, nobody's ever asked. Nobody from your country has ever asked, you know? He said, I'm shocked it took you so long. And I renegotiated it. I mean, I liked him so much, I could have made probably a tougher deal, but we made a tough deal. I liked him. He was a great guy, and we renegotiated that deal. We renegotiated a lot of deals. One of the best deals I made was with China, but because of COVID, I don't even talk about that deal. China had to buy $50 billion worth of our product, our agricultural product mostly. And, you know, it was interesting during the negotiation. I said, what are we asking for? $15 million, 15. So I thought they meant 50, right? I heard it as 50. So when they came to me, they said, we have the deal done with China. It's $15 million. I said, what do you mean 15? It's 50, you told me. They said, no, it's 15. I said, go back and ask for 50. And we got it. Did you believe it? We got it. I thought they said 50. But the Reciprocal Trade Act is basically a terrible expression, but it's, you know, as accurate as I could make it. You know, I have a man I have a lot of respect for. He said, please, you speak so beautifully. Don't hurt your speech by using foul language. But sometimes foul language is a little bit necessary. More necessary here than on television. I have to say, on television, it doesn't sound good. Although it sounds okay, actually, but it doesn't sound good. Here, you don't make your point. But I don't think this is too bad, because reciprocal trade, that's You screw us, we screw you. And then what happens, you charge us 100%, we charge you. I don't know how else I can say it so briefly, right? That's about as good as we can do. There's just no word that can cover that. So, and you know who that was? Does anybody know? You know who that was that told me? A great man, actually. Franklin Graham, you're right. It was Franklin Graham. He wrote me a beautiful letter, and he said, your speech was so good, and I loved it and everything else, but you don't have to use foul language. And I very rarely do. And it's not really, it's just, you know, like little words, like that word that starts with a B and ends with a T, right? It's just such a descriptive word. I don't know how you replace some of these words. But I think of him when I'm about to do, and usually last speech I said I'm going to behave, and I did. I totally behaved. This one I did use those two words, the same word twice. Biden would say I used 3 words 4 times. You know, remember that? He'd have 4 words and he'd say, in the famous words, those 2 words, and then he'd issue 4 words. This guy, this is what we have negotiating. This is what we have negotiating with Putin, with President Xi of China, with Kim Jong-un, who's loaded up with nuclear weapons. This is what we have negotiating. You know, when France came out and wanted to tax our nation, I told them you can't do it, and if you do it, you're going to pay 100% tax on all of your wine and all of your champagne that you send in. And all my people said you couldn't do it, you'll never be able to change it. They're going to tax our companies 25%. And I said, we're going to do it. And I did that, and it was a miracle. They said, Macron, you know Macron, good man. He loves France. He doesn't love us. He loves France, right? And I said, no. You have to pay. We're going to charge you 100% unless that disappears. Everybody told me it couldn't be done. My own people told me it couldn't be done. And I said, nope, 100% starting on Monday. This was Friday. And he called me back 5 minutes later. He said, we would be delighted to drop that tax. We would be delighted to drop that 25% tax on your companies, Vivek. But if I gave it to Vivek to do, I think he'd pull it off, right? You know.
Get him, Trump.
U.S. General's top-rated cards provide
Get 'em,
advanced
Trump.
features at an incredible value.
Get 'em.
Only at Harbor Freight.
That shit off of there. Get that off of there.
U.S. General.
Let's get
Those
that off of
top-rated
there.
cards provide advanced features at an incredible value.
on, man.
Only
Get off
at
the
Harbor
TV.
Freight.
He'd pull it off. It's no wonder Joe Biden and his thugs are so desperate to stop us. They know that we are the only ones who can stop them, and they know that. All of their persecutions and prosecutions is happening because I'm running for president and leading very big in the polls, including in this great state. Now, do you remember in 2016 we won? And then we did much better here in 2020, but lots of things happened. And then in the end, we won. But by that time, it was a little late. But in 2016, we won. And I got a poll from ABC Washington Post. Washington Post is down 50% in readers, which is a good thing because people don't like fake news. And ABC, they have George Stopalopoulos. I call him Slopadopoulos. George Stopalopoulos. I said, George, I've had you up to here. You got to start telling the truth. You got to start telling the truth. They're doing one of the debates, I understand. See, I agreed to this.
USA. What y'all got going on, man? How about y'all tell y'all to hit that like button? Hit that like button. Hit that like button. Don't play with it. Hit that like button and stop playing with it, man. Stop playing with it. You feel me? Hit that like button, share, subscribe, comment, turn on all post notification bells. So let me give y'all a little history, right? When there's a murder incident or situation, I'm showing y'all what I mean about Joe Biden is not the right one for us for president, man. You feel me? I had to switch up on y'all today. I had to switch up a little bit. It's kind of hot out here, too. It's kind of hot up in here. I want to look at a little TV. Look at a little TV, too. Well, I ain't back there, so I can't look at her. But anyway, man, like I was saying, man, guys, look, man. A lot of people are still screaming Joe Biden. Don't y'all know Biden just removed himself out of the race? It's over with. He out of the race, man. Joe Biden is history. His story. You feel me? Over and done with. So, y'all go ahead and gear up. Get prepared, because y'all already know what time it is. Trump all day, every day. It's over with, man. Trump got that shit, boy. And I'm glad of it. I am so freaking glad of it, man. But tomorrow, I'm not going live tomorrow because I have another YouTube channel that's like 20 hours away from being monetized. Just for the record, I've been working my ass off, man. So I need to go ahead and focus on monetizing that channel tomorrow, man. So y'all ain't gonna see me live tomorrow on this platform. But when I get monetized on my other channel, I'm gonna post the link, and y'all guys can go over there and check that out, man. It's pretty much a diverse platform like this one right here. You know what I'm saying? Different content. Y'all know I don't have a set content, but y'all do know that I'm a big time Trump supporter, so y'all already know it's Trump all day, every day. You feel me? For sure, for sure. I gotta go take my aunt and them somewhere, get them a ride. So I'm about to end.